What is going on, guys? Casual Spanking over here, and I've got some very exciting news for you guys, and those would be the Battlefield 4 PC system requirements. Now, for a very long time, there are countless of us out there who have been waiting to see these requirements just to know what we would be needing to play Battlefield 4 and get the full Battlefield experience, or to at least play Battlefield 4 at its minimum settings and just try to get some gameplay in. Now, I would not recommend playing Battlefield 4 on minimum settings, basically because you'd be missing out on the entire Battlefield experience. Now, if you're coming over from console like I am, that might not be such a big deal for you guys at first, but after some game time you might start realizing that you're really kind of missing out. Now, for the minimum requirements, I am assuming these are to basically play the game at its purest form, on its most simplistic form, so you're not getting any big fancy graphics, no huge frame counts, and you're just trying to get your game time in and say you play the game. At least that's what I assume these to mean. So for the minimum requirements, your operating system requirements would be the Windows Vista SP2 32-bit with KB9715112 platform update, as well as for the processor, you need at least an AMD Athlon X2 2.8 GHz processor or an Intel Core 2 Duo 2.4 GHz processor. For the memory, they're recommending for the minimum settings that you use at least 4 GB of RAM. And for the graphics card, an AMD Radeon HD 3870 or an NVIDIA GeForce 8800 GT, as well as 512 megabytes of graphics memory and a 30 gig hard drive available space. So now this basically, again guys, is what you would need to play Battlefield, and I can't emphasize this enough on its minimum settings. Again guys, if you are planning to update some of your hardware, you might look into considering updating the RAM, which is probably the cheapest thing to update. Graphics memory, I'm not sure there's much you can do other than, perhaps get a new graphics card. You might be looking for a new graphics card already for Battlefield 4, but if you're not sure where to look, try Amazon, because they've got some pretty good pricing on the GTX 660. Last time I checked, it was selling for under $200, and that leads us to the recommended settings. For the operating system, you're recommended to use Windows 8 64-bit. However, I myself am running Windows 7. When I went to go buy my operating software, especially since I just built my computer, I can give you some pretty recent price comparisons. Windows 8 really was not that much more expensive than Windows 7, and I could have easily gotten it. However, I feel far more comfortable with Windows 7, and I feel that if you're not running a touchscreen display, you might not get the full sort of feel for Windows 8, and plus there's the learning curve to go with it. So if you're running something that's tried and tested, I would go with Windows 7 myself. For the processor, they're recommending an AMD 6-core CPU or an Intel quad-core CPU. In my current system, I'm running an Intel Core i5 4670K Haswell processor, and so far it's been handling Battlefield 3 on ultra settings, everything maxed out pretty decently, and I've been getting frame counts, and I'm sure this is also due to the GPU that I'm running, which is an AMD Gigabyte HD 7970. And but back to the processor, especially if you're planning on running processor intensive games, you might want to go with a slightly beefier and more powerful processor, and it might be worth for you to kind of dish out the dough on that side. For memory, they're recommending 8 GB of RAM, and for the graphics card, they're going with an AMD Radeon HD 7870 or an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 660 for the recommended settings. As I said, I currently am running an AMD HD 7970 from Gigabyte with 3 gigs of GDDR5 memory, which leads us to the next bit, which is the graphics memory, where they're recommending 3 GB of VRAM. So you might want to go ahead and consider that when you're purchasing your next video card. For hard drive, they're recommending again the 30 gigs of available space. And guys, again, this is very useful if you guys are just planning on building your computer now prior to Battlefield 4's release. This would have been very useful for me before, as I was purchasing everything from my computer, but I happened to have lucked out with the items I decided to purchase. I've got the 8 gigs RAM. It seems I've got a plenty powerful GPU and CPU, as well as an adequate OS and enough graphics memory. So again guys, if you want to get the full Battlefield 4 experience, I would go with the recommended settings and further to try to get the best possible experience out of it. If you guys are just planning on playing maybe like a little bit here and there, minimum settings I guess would be okay. But with that being said guys, I am very excited for these news to have come out. I hope they help you guys in future planning for PC hardware. And I just could not be more excited for Battlefield 4 to come out. 2 more months, guys. 2 more months. By the way, all the gameplay in the background is PC gameplay, in case you were wondering. I'm still kind of struggling to get a hang of the mouse and keyboard kind of combination, as all my muscle memory has basically been devoted to playing on an Xbox 360 controller. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be posting some gameplay with Donod FPS as well, who is basically my Battlefield tutor as of now. And we got some pretty good clips in. So be looking forward to that. The link to his channel is down in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next chapter. Peace out, fellas.